I guess I'm live. I did it. I actually did it. Uh, this is so weird. I can't see any of your comments. I actually got to do it on my phone, and I have to turn my phone around because I broke my lens that takes a selfie. So I'm looking and I have no idea what you're looking at. And I can't see your comments. So this is kind of useless for me today because I really want to have that conversation. But at least I'm live. I said I would do it today and I got it done. So, anyway, I wanted to talk to you about dating and who we are at this point in our life and what we really need from dating. You know, when you really think about it, it's like a one in a million chance you're going to find the perfect love for the rest of your life. And of course, we all want that. But to me, while I'm waiting for that person, I think the best thing I can do to increase my chances of that person sticking around is to know myself. And that's why I keep putting out these videos about asking yourself questions. Like my last video was about, you know, drama stoppers. Because if you know who you are and you meet somebody, it doesn't matter if you're in a date or if you're, you know, hanging out at a restaurant and somebody comes up to you, or you're at the library or wherever, you need to tell them who you are. Like, maybe not start with your finances and maybe not start with your intimacy needs. Maybe listen a little bit. Listening helps, just like I said in my video. And know where you're going with the rest of your years. And I touched on that in my last video. You know, it's so hard at this point in my life. I've always been a goal setter, not in a way that you check mark things off. Like my brother is really good goal setter and he checks things off and he has a list all the time. And I think I have ADHD or I don't know, something else. Oh, here comes my pupper. Come on up here. Come on. See what I mean? I get sidetracked easily. Hold on 1 minute because she has to have a blanket. One moment, please. Come on. Hey, pupper. Okay, anyway, there she goes. I don't know if you can see her or not. She just had her bone. Um, yeah, making goals. I don't know. Making goals at 65, the first thing I think of is how long am I going to live? Like, I've already had a heart incident. My mother died at 70. My father is still ticking along at 86. My grandparents lived to 90s. Now, I can't even imagine living 30 more years. That just doesn't seem possible to me. It could be possible, but man, if I'm going to live 30 more years, I really need to take care of my body. So I'm paying a lot more attention to that because I I fell the day before Mother's Day, which is now 11 or 12 weeks ago, and I must have rolled on this hand all the way up to my elbow. I tripped over a crooked sidewalk and just landed on this, and all my fingers inside hurt. You can see it's still swollen. I can't quite turn it this way. It's been a long, long, frustrating process. 11 or 12 weeks, 3 months. And for the first month, I could barely do anything. I couldn't button a button. I couldn't zipper a zipper. Everything. I couldn't make a cup of coffee. I couldn't open a bottle of wine. Ooh, speaking of wine, why didn't I get a glass before I started this? That's the other thing I need. Oh, I wish I could see your comments. That'll be tomorrow's progress, maybe. We'll see what happens. Um, But anyway, thinking about goals and how long I'm going to live, it can really be depressing, to me at least, thinking about, okay, I could live 3 years, I could live a year, I could live 30 years. But you know what? That's the way we are our whole life, and we never give it a second thought. But if you're anything like me at this age, ugh, it's just makes you question everything. What am I going to spend money on? What am I going to spend my time on? What's really important? So, but I've decided that I'm going to set goals that are within reach in the next 5 years, or a goal of how I would like to leave this planet. You know, my mother died of cancer, and I lived with her the last year of her life. And when I got to her house, she was a very methodical woman. And when I got to her house, we knew I was going to live with her until she died. And I think, I don't know if she did, but I don't know. We kind of planned for a year. Maybe that was because of what her doctor told her, or I don't know. But anyway, maybe she didn't really have it that much in mind. But she had a list of things that she wanted to get done. And, you know, instead of cleaning her house from top to bottom, spring cleaning, oh, do you spring clean? It's one of the most wonderful things you can do for yourself, because it's kind of brutal doing it, but you take down the drapes, you clean the windows, you clean the woodwork, you wash the walls, you make sure the fan's done, everything, top to bottom. Your house smells so good when you're done, and it feels so good. So this year we didn't do that. We instead started cleaning out her drawers and cleaning out winter wardrobe and summer wardrobe and jewelry and scarves, until she was down to, she did have some mobility problems with one of her arms. The cancer had spread, and it was kind of like my arm is, but I don't have cancer, thank God. Um, but it spread and it gave her some mobility issues, so we had to eliminate all the clothes that she couldn't get into right away. Then we went through files. Um, I can't remember. Oh, and one day she said she had this kind of Asian looking picture of a panda, and I never really cared for it, but one day she looked at it and she said that picture came from the woman that I was tutoring for English as a second language. Well, now that picture makes has a whole different meaning, because it came from this woman. It didn't just come from a thrift store or a garage sale or whatever. And after that, I told her, I said, you know, we need to have some way of knowing what was important to you. So we got a bunch of stickers that you use for garage sales, and we put a number on them, and we made a book, and each item that we put a number on, now we didn't do it for everything, we just did it the things that were most important to her, and we wrote in the book what that number meant. So we understood what was really valuable to her in her home. Now, when I moved here, I moved from Florida and I got caught in one of those moving scams. So I didn't really come here with a lot of things. I have a few things, but not enough for a book. And I have boys who are not so interested in those kinds of things. Anyway, I digressed from making goals and everything. She had those kinds of goals. And she and I took care of cleaning out and organizing and doing that kind of thing. And one of my brothers was responsible for maintaining all her financial records. Not maintaining, because she did that, but he was responsible for knowing about all those things when she passed. My other brother was responsible for keeping the house in order and having it prepared for sale when she passed. And then my sister kind of filled in everywhere. None of us lived by her. So that's my model for how you wrap up your life and package everything so it's ready to go for your kids. It's carefree, and it's kind of like, cleaning house, except you're cleaning up your life. So some of that is already part of what I'm doing. But I don't have a terminal disease. So that's kind of on the back burner. What do I want to do? Well, I really want to grow this YouTube channel because I'm lonely. And I think reading comments, and even though there's a lot of interest in my dating videos, there's a lot of comments that say, who wants to date? I don't want the drama, and I don't want to deal with anybody else's baggage. Okay, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. I kind of am that way too. I don't want the drama, and I don't want to deal with somebody else's baggage. I'd like to find somebody that I liked enough that I could try to deal with their baggage. But what else do I want to do in the meantime if they don't show up? How do I take care of myself so I'm not lonely and I'm not sitting on this couch waiting to die? Have to make goals. So I've made some goals, and we'll talk about those in another video. But I encourage you to just think about what's really important. What do you really, really want to do? Okay, one of the things I really, really, really want to do is I want to have a RV of some sort. I think I have a picture of it. I'll show you that later. And I want to drive the Alaskan Highway. Kind of scares me to be 65 and thinking about doing that on my own. It would be much more comforting if I had a partner to do it with. A man that would love to do that too. But putting all that together in the time span that I have left on this planet, that's getting kind of sketchy. So I'm just going to focus on getting the vehicle and making the plan, okay? And we'll see what happens, if he shows up or not. I'd really, really, really like to go back to Iceland. Okay, so those are big trips. Big trips. Those are big goals. Those can stay in the background, but they're really not going to get me off the couch and interacting with people and get rid of my day-to-day loneliness from being an elder orphan. Isn't that a great phrase, elder orphan? It's kind of what we are. I'm a half orphan. I haven't lost my father yet, but it's not far away. And I've already lost my mother. I don't know if you're like me, but your kids are busy. They have their own lives. They don't really come around that much. Maybe if I pushed it a little bit, they would, but they're grown adults and they're healthy and they're happy and they have their own worlds, and I'm good with that. So, and I don't want them responsible for taking care of my loneliness. That's my job. So, what are some of the goals that I can have that can take care of my loneliness? Well, one of my goals is that I would like to have a game night in my house. Right now, the closest I can get to that is at our senior center, and I know it sounds really old to be so active in a senior center, but really, there's a variety of ranges, okay? So, us as senior adults, we're kind of in this, we're kind of like in a it's a label, but it ranges from 50 to whatever. So if you go to a senior center, you might find somebody that's 80 that you really enjoy, and you might find somebody that's 65 that you really enjoy. There at the senior center, I play Mexican dominoes with a group of women. Now, my family, towards the later years of my mother's life, was introduced to Mexican dominoes, and that was one of the games we played as a family. So I play there now, but it's not quite the company I want to keep. So I'm thinking I'm going to do a meetup, or I'm going to invite certain people and start a game night at my house once a month. Now, that's kind of stretching my comfort zone because that means I have to have my house ready. Maybe I want some snacks for them. Maybe some people will show up and other people won't. Maybe nobody will show up. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong, but that's a goal that I can work on, that is enough activity that it'll keep me kind of distracted from just sitting on the couch and remembering how lonely I am. You guys, I I know we're old. Like, you start to think about all those things. Like, we're senior citizens are tossed aside in our society for the most part. So we really need to take care of ourselves. And of course, there's other things like hobbies. I love my garden. I have chickens. But as I get older, and my experience with my hand has taught me that I need to minimize some things, not expand them. Like, I need to expand my human interaction. I need to expand my support and safety net of people that I can call on if for some reason I fall or am incapacitated in some way. The chickens, if I'm incapacitated in some way, I don't want to be finding somebody to take care of my chickens. Taking care of me is a big enough problem. So eventually they will fade out of my life. But right now, sure is nice to go out every morning and grab a couple of fresh eggs and have scrambled eggs and toast. Yum. My dog, same way. She's 10. I adopted her about a year and a half ago, and hopefully she'll go before me, because you don't want to have goals that you have to leave, that other people inherit from you. So that kind of limits your goals. I wish I could see your comments. What do you think about goals? What do you think about being lonely? What are ways that you take care of your loneliness? How do you feel about living by yourself? How do you feel about dating? Like, seriously, I keep making these dating videos because they're happening, but do you really want to date? Really? Because we can talk about that in one of the next live streams. Okay, so I've rambled. I can't really see you, but I did make a commitment to get online live tonight, and I think I've done it. We'll see what happens when I turn the end, when I touch that little button that says end live stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little bit of time together. I'm really looking forward to being able to see your comments and interact, and because I am better interacting with you than I am just creating a video. I'll still create videos, but this will help me kind of direct them one way or another. I've spent my life um, studying people, caring about people, and learning how to get along with them. How do I manage myself so I can get along with people? And whoops. and and I've spent my life looking at myself and my history and my personality and my faults and my weaknesses and my strengths. And I can see that in other people too. And I want to share that. So I'm hoping, I may not be back tomorrow, but I'm hoping to be back at least a few times this coming week. So join me. I'll be sure to post a little something somewhere. I'm still learning. A lot of YouTubers, boy, they get online, they start a YouTube channel, and they have everything lined up. And I kind of am a learn by doing. That's the next step. Let me learn that, try that, and then add on to the next step after that. So that's my process. I hope that you will be back. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. And there's my dog. I don't know if you can see her or not. We will sign off for tonight. Bye. See you next time.